I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'm supposed to be resting my voice, but when I wake up with a whole bunch of DMs linking me to different articles, I gotta talk about this. Because this isn't an April Fool's Day prank or anything like that. We're almost out of April. No, this is a legit story about Hasbro, aka Wizards of the Coast, sending hired goons over to the house of a YouTuber who reports and covers their Magic the Gathering cards because he was accidentally sent some cards that were not supposed to have been released. And therefore, Hasbro, in what might be considered slight overreaction, sent hired thugs knocking on his private address to go and reclaim the cards and hit him with one of those "y'all better cease and desist right friggin' now" little messages. This is unbelievable. I'm going to try and cover this story with a little bit of a smile and a little bit of whimsy because I don't want to be a sad, depressing news channel. That ain't what model behavior is all about. But you know what also is not model behavior? Sending hired thugs over to your fans' houses to make up for your mistake. This is so gross. Okay, so I'm going to read from an article from Distractify. This has been reported in Kotaku, Polygon, a whole bunch of other places. Okay, but essentially, what happened is we've got this YouTuber, and he goes by the name of Old School MTG. Let me just quote the article to save me umming and ahhing. Why did Wizard of the Coast hire the Pinkertons? Here's what we know. The Pinkertons are a collection agency or private detective agency in the US who are famous for their heavy-handed tactics, who are famous for intimidation, who are famous for being ruthless. Because y'all can imagine, when you're dealing with a hardcore Magic the Gathering fan, y'all better be packing heat, alright? Because we don't mess around. Okay, so it says, on April 24th, 2023, this is the year we live in, when hired goons are being sent around to people's houses, outlets like Kotaku reported that the game publisher hired the Pinkerton agents. Basically, just imagine Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit and the Weasels. That's what we're dealing with. They hired the Pinkerton agents against someone who was publicly engaging in perceived illicit activity involving unreleased Magic the Gathering cards. Reportedly, YouTuber Old School MTG, aka Dan Cannon, had accidentally received a set of cards from March of the Machine, The Aftermath, an upcoming Magic expansion that is slated for release on May 12th. 2 weeks! He got them 2 weeks beforehand! Call the Gestapo! Jeez. After posting a video about the cards, the Pinkertons arrived at his door. This is George Orwell type stuff. Is it George Orwell, 1984? Or is that the Time Machine? Regardless. Speaking with Kotaku, Dan theorized that there was a mix-up with a delivery. What I believe happened, he quotes, or I'm quoting him, what I believed happened is that the names are too similar. March of the Machine and March of the Machine, brackets, Aftermath. And somebody screwed up and sent the wrong cases, Dan guessed at the time. Though Dan didn't actively order these unreleased cards, that didn't stop Wizard's disproportionate response. Pinkerton agents arrived at their door and ordered him to return the cards under threat of jail time and a hefty fine. This is so gross. First of all, a private detective agency like that has no right to enter your house or take your possessions or search anything. Even I, who don't know squat about naught, knows that a private agency cannot knock on your door and demand you to hand stuff. That's not how it works. Why is it that everyone always asks, you got a warrant? Because guess what? In America, y'all got your freedoms. For now, and you have to say, hey, are you a policeman with a court order, warrant, whatever? No? Then you can't come into my property, okay? But Hasbro. The problem is, this is what happens when a company becomes so big that it's no longer people, it's a corporation. That's it. Corporations don't have nuance. Corporations don't think. And most importantly, corporations don't consider any kind of human feeling, nuance, or emotion. It is just violation. Send in the hired goons. And that's it. And it's just baffling that a company that projects itself as being for the fans will go to these kinds of lengths without even thinking twice. It's baffling. Dan later reached out to Wizards of the Coast. So after the hired thugs knocked on his door, threatened him with fines and jail time and a fair bit of intimidation, I would dare suggest, after he has handed over his property that he paid for, mind, Dan later reached out to Wizards of the Coast, aka Hasbro, who make our beloved Marvel Legends and G.I. Joes and everything else. The smiley company who reach out to the fans and do all the Yeah, those guys. Dan later reached out to Wizards with a representative of the company apologizing profusely for the actions taken by the Pinkertons. They had promised to compensate Dan and his wife for the items they had seized from their home, but they have expressed concern over potential legal action that may be taken against them via the Pinkertons. This is horrible. Really horrible. I could just imagine if I got like a knock on the door because I had ordered the freaking Spider-Man Retro Wave and it came a week early and I did a review and then all of a sudden, like, I joke on this channel about Marvel Legends Police. Marvel Legends Police, open up. Normally, they only arrest you and haul you over the coals if you're mixing MCU with 616. I mean, that does deserve a visit from the Pinkertons. But this is just disgusting. This is just gross. It's grubby. It's horrible. So there's a quote here. Just heard that Wizards of the Coast hired the Pinkertons to go after a guy having magic cards early. Let me say that again. The year is 2023. Oh, I kind of said that too. Wizards of the Coast have hired the Pinkertons. And again, I'm only learning what the Pinkertons are now, but this article goes on to say, what are the Pinkertons? According to their official website, the Pinkertons call themselves world leaders in comprehensive risk management who offer security to global organizations. Yeah, not individual human beings. No, just faceless global corporations that want to enforce their will. Put simply, they are a detective agency that works on behalf of companies and typically responds to perceived external issues. The agency, get this, you're gonna love this. The agency was first established in 1850 and was used largely after the Civil War as an anti-union force. Hired goons! There's no other word for it. They have since garnered infamy for their ruthlessness in their operations. That said, many have criticized Wizards for hiring an outdated detective agency as an extreme response to leaked cards. Folks on Twitter believe that this move is simply the latest in a growing list of controversies to which Wizards of the Coast keep on adding. This is just the worst, man. And I keep saying Wizards of the Coast, it's Hasbro. Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, like we're all, it's all bundled together. This is one corporate company that is sending thugs over to people's houses. This is gross. Hasbro, you have been making bad PR move after bad PR move for years now, and this is something a little special. Y'all outdid yourselves on this one. So the fact that also, like, the guy's wife was in his house with him, you get a knock on the door from a bunch of strangers who are like, demanding your property, this is gross, grubby, and horrible. And the fact that Hasbro did dial back and were like, oh, we apologize for the potentially disproportionate. Yeah. So it's like any kind of abusive person going, hey, baby, look, maybe I overreacted, but, you shouldn't make me angry like that. Really, if anyone's at fault here, it's you because, I got a temper. I got a temper and you should know better than to upset me because this is the kind of thing that's going to happen if you do. Gross. So gross. So grubby. I'm kind of torn here now because this is the channel that Marvel Legends built. But dang, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't buy Marvel Legends anymore because I'm just not in a good place to buy them. And also, like many people, I've kind of completed my collection and I don't need the minor upgrades. I'm always going to report on them because it's fascinating and it's interesting to see what's made. And sometimes they make stuff that does look great and you're like, I want to share this and talk about it because it does look awesome. Hello, Joe Fix-It. However, when a company is doing this kind of thing, it's just, you can't back them. You can't back them, you can't support them, you can't represent them. I'm so glad that I didn't ever get any freebies from Hasbro because I would have taken them and I would have opened them and promoted them. I'm not going to stand on a pedestal and go, I'm so glad that I refused to ever work with Hasbro. No, I just by pure luck and chance and not being on their Christmas list, I never got anything from them. So I'm just lucky that I can go like, oh, I have never promoted anything from them. Well, except for like literally talking about all their releases. But that was off my own back, you know. Regardless, I'm glad that I can like distance myself from this because, yeah, bad look, man. Real bad look. And it's not just like, oh, this is an appropriate corporate response. This actually happened in the UK not long ago. Games Workshop, who make the Warhammer 40k figures. There's a YouTuber who got some early releases by mistake. He got some early release figures and he painted them up and he displayed them and made a video on them and put them out on social media. You know what Games Workshop did? They retweeted him and commented on his pictures saying, bam, that is a hell of a paint job you've done on those. Hope you enjoy them. Released a little sooner than we expected, but thanks for promoting our product. Good on you. Double thumbs up. They didn't send around the friggin' hired goons to rough them up and snatch them back. That is gross. And like I said before, that is what happens when a company becomes a corporation. The human element is taken out, and suddenly you don't have a human being that made a mistake. You have an anomaly that is a violation. And how do you deal with that? You call up your corrections department, the Pinkerton agency, to go and break their door down. They didn't literally, but you know what I'm saying, and reclaim what is legally yours, even though it was paid for and delivered by your company. It's gross. It's grubby. Hasbro can't support y'all. We're done. We're out. So yeah, that's a story that had to be told because these companies, Hasbro, y'all need to be held accountable for this. I don't want this to be a little story that's just swept under the rug because it's not okay. Y'all are messing up over and over again. Quality is going down. Prices are going up. Placating the audience as best you can with a few little smiles and like, oh, we didn't mean to do that. Oh, we made a mistake. Oh, look, tee. Here, have something nice and pretty. Nah, it's gross, grubby, and horrible. Every big corporation in the world has its gross practices. It does. But this is one that directly affects us. And especially, they're coming after the YouTubers? I got to talk about this. So, yeah, guys, what do you think about this story? What do you think about Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, Magic? Does this affect how you feel about Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe, all that kind of stuff? I've been eagerly awaiting a HasLab announcement so I can talk about it and get excited, but now it just feels like I don't want to talk about these guys anymore. It's gross and grubby and kind of bad. And again, like I said, I'm making this video in a kind of an upbeat, live, fun kind of way because it's a heavy subject. And I don't want to be all like, boo, boo, boo. Instead, I want to be like, boo, boo, boo. That's an impression of me doing me. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think, because it's kind of fascinating. So, thank you for watching this completely off-the-cuff random rant. I'm going to go and drink some honey and lemon to rest my voice a little bit more. And until next time, keep displaying... Oh, wait, there's someone at the door. I've got to go get that. Keep displaying model behavior.